Start with, we have two different types of radios. We have UHF, VHF. VHF stands for very high frequency, which is your white radios. UHF stands for ultra high frequency, which is your blue radios. The most telling characteristics between the two radios is you have the shorter antenna for the UHF, but also if you have no antenna, it'll be your faceplate. That'll tell you the difference. So starting with your lapel mic. Your lapel mic has a couple of features. You can turn through your first 16 dials. You have your volume, your E-trigger, your push-to-talk button, and your channel annunciator. One of the considerations that's vitally to know about this is that this channel selection trumps any channel selection here. So if you change this and then change this, it'll default to this. The best way to tell that out is when you turn your radio on in the morning, you turn this on, wait a second or two, and then this will announce your channel. Your E-trigger does the same function as this trigger here. Coming down, you have your radio. You need to make sure that your radio antenna has good structural integrity, isn't showing any pieces are broken or frayed. Sliding over, you have your first 16 channel selector. Then you also have your direct and repeat functions. Now these will only work if the channel selected is a direct or repeat function. But it's vital to know that. You'll get a different symbol here. You have your volume control knob and you have your multi-positional switch. In the middle is you're allowed to change your programming. If it's to one of these other ones, the keypad is locked. So we turn the radio on, it'll tell us a few different things. So U20. If you heard it went to U20, so this is set at channel U20. If you look here in this first corner, that'll tell you your zone, zone 4. Think of zones as chapters in a book. Then you have your channel name, LAC U20 Direct. You can find multiple chapter names, or multiple channel names in multiple zones. So do not get caught up on it's always in zone 4. For example, LA County air to ground is usually in channel 16 and multiple zone plans. You need to know your zone plan for which area you're working in. Different jurisdictional areas have different zones. Zone 2, Zone 3, Zone 4, but you can find the same channel in different places, but not always in the same position. So when you announce a channel, say the channel you're announcing, U17, not channel 12, because channel 12 on Zone 1 can be one thing, but channel 12 on Zone 2 can be a completely different thing. If you notice on the bottom here, we have these three names and those correspond to these three functions here. If you toggle over, again, you go over. So this radio was assigned to Camp 12-21 Firefighter Specialist. The way you can determine that is by that name here. Now another little interesting thing to determine that if this radio has been properly programmed, if you look on the inside of this radio here, you'll see these stickers. That says TMAC 15A. That tells you that this radio is programmed for TMAC, Tactical Mutual Aid Communications, 2015. And additionally, if you look on the bottom here, that'll tell you PM 15. PM and TMAC are two different things. PM is really a test of the actual radios and its functions and its stability, where TMAC is its programming. These radios are intrinsically safe for use in all IDLH environments, and the reason it is this color, this is the first color that comes up on the eye spectrum when the light turns to dark. So now that we know our radio is safe and good, we can go through our functions. If you need to change zones, you can simply go zone here and type in the zone that you want. So zone 01, and you hit home, that's your enter. You're on Med 1. Now if you want to change the channels within the first 16, you can do so here. Now if you want to change channels to a greater than channel 16, you can hit channel and put it in. And you can simply toggle over and hit home, and that'll secure it. Now, repeated and direct channels. What a repeated channel basically means is your radio signal gets transmitted from your radio to a repeater. A repeater is both a sending and receiving site. It takes in radio traffic and rebroadcasts that at a higher wattage, not necessarily on the same channel or frequencies, but it puts it back out. So one of the important considerations to know is, are you on a repeated or direct channel? A surefire way to determine if you're on a repeated or direct channel is when you go here, you toggle. If you don't see anything, you know you're on a repeated channel, because you'll see a little bar that comes up and it's like a door. You're going through the door. So you need a consideration with that. That's vitally important. Now if you notice here, MPL, multi-party line. What that basically means is they take your radio frequency spectrum and they divide it up with a code that gets announced below your auditory level in front of the radio signal. So you send a signal to him, he will only open his repeater if you have the proper MPL tone. What MPL tones do is they allow multiple uses on the same frequency because everyone has to have matching corresponding tones. Where this is most important is when we work in the Angeles National Forest or other partners throughout the state where they have different MPL tones for different repeaters because they don't have what we have as a simulcast system. Because a simulcast system is when I send it to this repeater, it simulcasts that to all the repeaters. We're on a Forest Service plan, it goes to one repeater and one repeater only and broadcasts it. So you need to know your districts if you're traveling up. You may be on tone 7 at the beginning of your forest district, but as you get to the backside, you need to maybe change the tone 11. That information is most readily found in your TMAC handout in your phone. If you look at it, it'll tell you your nearest repeater. You also have your nuisance here. If you have a lot of traffic on one of your channels that is trumping you, you need to turn off. The last major function that we need to go over is scan. What scan does is allow you to monitor multiple channels at the same time. So scan, and this function is just scan off and on. Now, if you need to check your scan list, you toggle over using your three-way here to program. You hit program, that's to ask what your programmer, you're going to program the scan. And within here you have 3 different functions. You have select, delete, and recall. If you hit recall, it'll basically tell you what is in your selected bank. Now if you want to have one channel that's more scanned than anything else and will trump any other traffic, that's your primary channel, and you do that by hitting select twice and you do a little dot. So you can recall and recycle. Now if you need to add channels, you can go up this way. If you need to go different zones, you can go this way. So you don't have to keep jumping zones to do your programming. I suggest if you're going to do a big programming list in multiple zones, have it all written down so you know how far you have to toggle. So remember, side to side is channels, up and down is zones. Makes pretty good sense. You also can set the clock. Another thing that you want to notice here, a lot of people, is when you go here to your battery tells you your estimated charges and your percentages. If you notice on some of them, it won't give you a percentage of your battery capacity. That's because it hasn't seen an impress charger, which is the smart charger, in 21 days. If you wanted to get it back, you need to put it back on. This tells you your estimated charges, and it's a smart charger. It'll only charge it to the maximum rated that battery can do. Over time, the battery's diminished. It will not always be able to go up to 100%. It'll slowly work its way down. So that's the basic radio nutshell. We'll go over communications plans right now because that's included with this. On a first alarm brush assignment, you may get dispatched with the Foothill plan, the Labrador plan, Susanna plan, and basically what that means is there's a zone dedicated to that operational area that will have all the mutual aid partners, usually within that first 16. So you select to that zone or plan, and you can simply go to work in there. Now, if you get toned out on a brush fire or in another mutual aid, you need to listen up and know where to find them. And that is pretty much your radio drill in 10 minutes.
No, 8 minutes, but
Yeah.
good though.